Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Margie Knight Stadium for Game 2 of this softball twin bill between the Salisbury University Seagulls and the York College Spartans. Game 1, of course, ending with a Salisbury victory 8-5 after a full 7 innings of work. And we're glad to have you back here. It took a little bit longer than 30 minutes to get the game started up again, but we are here and ready to go. Isabella Purdy will be the starting pitcher for the Seagulls, and if you watched the game from earlier today, well, the lineup is pretty much unchanged. The only difference is that Abby Mace will be leading off, and Challenger will be taking Mace's former position, batting number 2, and then Carrie Jacoby will be taking the 5 spot, and Laura Myers will be moving down 1 spot to the 6 hole. But other than that, defensive alignment is identical to Game 1 and pretty much the same for the Spartans. The only difference is Barstad will now be at first, and the starting pitcher for York College will be number 10. Let me get my roster here real quick. Kirsten Coppage. And let me introduce myself. I'm Billy Griffith, and joined right now by play-by-play announcer Michael Greco.
Yeah, Billy, we saw a great game of softball in game number 1. Whether you were a Salisbury fan or a York College fan, which you can't really say about many opposing teams' fan bases following a game against Salisbury. You know, usually it's pretty one-sided, but the Spartans did a pretty good job at keeping it a close game, and they're going to hope for a similar result in game number 2 as the first pitch from Isabella Purdy misses to open up the at-bat to Morgan Sowers. Taking a look at Purdy's season so far as she prepares the 1-0 and gets her sign. She pitches a 1.75 ERA through 48 innings pitched and continues her perfect 9-0 record through 10 appearances and 9 starts, this being her 10th. She's given up 41 hits, 15 runs, 12 of those earned, and has a 37-20 strikeout to walk ratio, an opposing batting average of 308. So the solidified number 2 this season in the pitching staff is that one skied out to Mace. She calls for it and makes the catch to begin this game number 2, recording the first out via flyout of Morgan Sowers.
And if y'all were watching the first game and think, oh, maybe the weather has changed. No, the wind has actually gotten a little worse. Sustained gusts of up to 20 miles an hour coming out of the southwest. That's blowing pretty much into the third base dugout where the Seagulls are sitting right now. So it's pretty surprising. Perfectly clear skies and mid-70 temperatures, but that wind is really whipping around.
Yeah, you tell me, Billy. I was down there trying to get the lineups, and it felt like I was about to get blown away trying to sit there and tough out the wind. And that's a credit to these players able to play in these conditions, especially with how it affects the ball. We saw some heavy slicing of skyfly balls out to the outfield and how the wind has been able to affect that so far. And even really with these pitches, if you get a slow enough off speed, it might not exactly go where you want to go. In fact, it might even derail like maybe a couple inches, which in those pitches that are trying to bite the outside or inside, it's a big difference maker. As that one is a chop single out to left field, chopped in front of the feet of Sam Flowers. So York will have a runner on with one down here in the top of the first inning. Of course, last game they were able to kick off with a 1-run top of the first, hoping to repeat that, but not really repeat the rest of game number 1 if you're York College. So Barstad reaches on a single. She had a pretty good game in game number 1, both at the plate and as a pitcher. She was the second pitcher to come in relief of the starter, and she went the entire rest of the way in the losing effort.
Yeah, and it was just outstanding from Barstad. She really kept the game competitive for the Seagulls, because I think if the starting pitcher for the Spartans stayed out there for a bit longer, we would be saying a different story. But Barstad did a great job of really holding the Seagull offense back a bit. We will see if that happens again for game 2.
A swing and a miss out of Daphne Adams. Of course, on the Seagull side, they rocked with Nicole Ortega for just about all game, and then they brought in Sydney Adolphson, the freshman, to slam the door and get the final 3 outs to secure the 8-5 victory over the Spartans, as the 1-2 misses evens up the count to Daphne Adams at 2-2. Purdy gets the sign and delivers the even count 2-2. That one's going to pull Mace back a little bit, but she makes the catch, 2 hands. And just like that, Barstadt retreats back to first base, and there are 2 outs in the top of the first inning. Both outs this inning have came from flyouts to Abby Mace out in the drain in center field. And now the 0-0 is cut on and missed by Emma Wade, serving as the cleanup batter today.
That's a bit of a shame. Barstad was taking second base all the way, and she was pretty much unopposed. Paoli wasn't even looking at second base, but that foul tip sends her back to first.
Now the 0-1 from Purdy is on the outside half, can't connect with the zone.
I thought that was going to be a ball. I thought it was going to be called a ball, but umpire just a little slow on the call. Just got to get used to that.
That's right, my mistake. It is a 0-2 count to.
No, he got me too. Don't worry, Mike.
To Emma Wade.
Yeah.
And the 0-2 is swung on and flied out to Sam Flowers and left, and she'll make the catch. So 3 flyouts, 2 to Abby Mace and 1 to Sam Flowers, with a single sprinkled in from Gretchen Barstadt. Opens up the top of the first inning for the York College Spartans. We go to the bottom of the first, still a 0-0 tie. The Seagulls will have their first chance to bat right after this.
We understand an upside-down world, but they're writing us off before we get to the starting line. A stalled generation? Who do you think is gonna fix all this? We will, because our future is the future. So we're going to build bridges and hospitals in a day and feed those left in the cold. We're going to do all this and more because we have an appointment with destiny.
And we're back with the bottom of the first. It's still a 0-0 tie between the Spartans and the Seagulls. Abby Mace leading off for the Seagulls, going against Kirsten Coppage, a freshman from Forest Hill. Billy, what do you got on the pitcher?
Yeah, Kirsten Coppage, as you mentioned, a freshman. So far this in her career, 2024, 3.53 ERA, 9 wins, 2 losses on her record, 13 appearances, all of those being starts, 9 complete games on her line, and 2 shutouts and 71 in a third innings pitched. 66 hits, 39 runs, 36 of those runs being earned, 40 walks, 45 strikeouts, 19 doubles, 2 triples, and 2 home runs, and a batting average against of .246. One of the best on the Spartans team.
The freshman will have a tall task, as we mentioned at the beginning of game number 1. The Spartans not really playing too many notable opponents as that one rides inside and hits Mace, but the Seagulls being the first and only ranked opponent on the Spartans schedule as of today, so sending the freshman out there for game number 2 to try and
And it is very important to note also that Salisbury is number 2 in the country, so York facing by far their tallest task of the season, even with conference playoffs and all down the line, just in a couple weeks for everybody. But again, have a very tall task ahead of them. They definitely stood up to the challenge in game 1, but we'll see if they can replicate that here in game 2.
That's right. And as Coppage stands back in, we'll see how they can try and get the jump on the Seagulls. They were unable to score a run in that first inning like they did in game number 1, which we mentioned. And the Seagulls switching up their lineup in only 2 spots, of course, swapping Challenger and Mace, and along with Myers and Jacoby later on in the lineup. We'll get to that in a second as Mace takes off for second base. The throw down not in time.
Emily Challenger not having the usual success that we were used to. She went 1 for 3. But otherwise, she has been on a tear so far. But the Spartans able to hold her to only 1 hit.
Now the 2-1 to Challenger is missed. Low and outside. Challenger awaiting the hitter's friendly 3-1 and squares around a bump but lets that one go. Fills the count at 3-2. Adams still behind the plate, giving some signals to Coppage. Coppage gets the sign and delivers the full count pitch, and that one is fouled back into the netting by Challenger. And that one is skied out to center. Tracing under it is Dreyer. Or actually, no, excuse me. That one went to second base for, I believe, McCown out there at second. Not able to make the catch. So now there will be runners on first and second.
Yeah, that was a bit odd. Actually, if you remember from the first game, it reminded me a lot of what happened with Megan Reed in the first game. And it was pretty much top of the first inning. Just a pop-up. Maybe they lost it in the sun or the wind kicked it somewhere different that they were expecting, but bit of a bizarre play there.
And we've mentioned ad nauseum the impact of the wind here at Seagulls Softball Stadium, blowing way in. And that not only impacts fly balls to the outfield, but I suppose pop-ups in the infield as well, as the 0-1 is on the way and misses. And that one is skied out to right field. Chasing under it is Paulus, and that one once again blew in. It falls down safely. The Seagulls will not be able to send the runner home. Of course, they were holding up thinking it was going to be caught out there by Paulus, but once again the wind striking here at Margie Knight.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you can see the flags in the camera, but the whole entire flagpole is shaking, and the flags are really whipping out there. And looks like after that second mistake, looks like all of the fielders are going to go talk at the circle and figure out how to approach this.
And you can't really blame them because these aren't even really errors on the skills of the fielders. It's just
they just
rough
haven't been
conditions.
able to, they haven't been able to adjust to the wind yet. So nobody out, bases are loaded, and a little bit of deja vu from the bottom of the first inning in the last game. Bases loaded, nobody out, and Natalie Paoli up to the plate now.
So back-to-back wind-assisted singles for the Seagulls after Abby Mace was plunked by a pitch in her first at-bat. So no errors on the board, but maybe if you want to call them, if you're a fan of the Spartans, you want to call them unearned hits with how they were assisted by the wind as Paoli fouls that one back. A little bit of defensive changes for the Spartans. They swap McCown and McDonough between second and third. McCown had a pretty rough day at the hot corner, being peppered by Seagull batters as Paoli swings and a miss at that one for the first strikeout and first out of the York defense.
Carrie Jacoby stepping in now. She had a big 2 RBI single in the first inning last game. We'll see if she can replicate that here.
That one is in there for a strike to open up Carrie Jacoby's at-bat. This time in game number 1, Lauren Myers was up to bat, but we mentioned that they swapped the 2 batters around, and for good reason. Jacoby lines that one up the middle. A run will score. Abby Mace crosses the plate to make it a 1-0 Salisbury lead.
Yep, and that's exactly what you could ask for from Carrie Jacoby. She's been making those clutch hits all season pretty much. There's those big RBIs. And there's a reason why she's in the position that she is in now. Lauren Myers now up to the plate. She was also 1 for 3 in her last game.
The 0-0 is in the left-handed batter's box, trying to keep any of these offerings away from the hotspot of Seagull batters, as Seagulls
Our
crowd
flying sideways pretty much.
Margie Knight fighting the wind just like these Seagulls are.
Yep.
As Myers lays off of that one. If anybody ever asks you why Salisbury's teams are named the Seagulls, show them this game right here.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Seagulls aplenty here at Margie Knight, as a 3-0 count is worked by Lauren Myers.
And Coppage has to at least throw a strike here. I mean, if you walk a batter on 4 pitches,
Which she does.
it's just there. Yeah. You walk in a run just like that.
So that makes it 2-0 in favor of the Seagulls.
Now Emily Stockman up to the plate now. Sorry, I didn't want to
All good.
cut you off there. But she was the first strikeout victim from Barstad in the first game. I swear, this really is just like a complete replay of the bottom of the first.
Pretty much. I mean, outside of the impact that the wind is having, giving us 2 more singles, it's pretty clear as Stockman grounds that one to McDonough at third, but I suppose they're going to say that it nabbed Stockman on the way towards McDonough on its roll out. So we'll reset with an 0-2 count. Kind of insult to injury if you're Stockman. But it's 0-2. She'll have to try and do that again. She'll watch the 0-2 on the outside half go for a ball to make it a 1-2 count.
That was a great take by Stockman there, especially when you're down 0-2 with the bases loaded. It's really easy to just swing at whatever you can. But again, a great take from Stockman there.
Coppage firing the 1-2 high and outside. And that one is grounded to the second baseman, McCown, and it gets past. 1 run scores. They're going to go station to station, and the bases will still be loaded with 1 down. And the Seagulls extend their lead. It's 3-0.
And the Seagulls just keep on chugging on, and Seagulls threatening to go through the lineup.
Defensive misfortune continues for McCown as that one goes just past her glove at second base. We mentioned how big that middle infield gap is, that sometimes those grounders are just right beyond the fingertips of the second or shortstop's glove, as Flowers skies that one out to her position in left field, dings off of one of the poles of the batting cage.
Impressive hit.
Bet you she couldn't do that again if she tried.
Yeah.
But either way, Flowers will get a second try. stays alive. It's 0-2. As Tershi was really trying to chase that one down. Almost had a chance at it, but once again, maybe the wind blowing that one out.
Yeah.
We talk about the two sides of the wind, the two tails of the wind, and sometimes it can help you and sometimes it can burn you. So Flowers staying alive, back-to-back foul balls. Now the 0-2 is taken in for strike number 3. Flowers goes down looking. It's the second strikeout for Coppage so far today.
Yeah, all of her outs have come via the punch out in this game so far. And I think, you can't exactly depend on your pitcher to get strikeouts every time, every batter she faces. So I think the defense needs to make some adjustments to, try and get back in this one.
Now Dawson standing in. She had some misfortune at the plate. Her last 2 at-bats, she's flown out to the outfielders, really showing some strength, though, that we don't typically see from her slap-hitting strategy.
And with Dawson up to the plate now, the Seagulls have successfully batted through the order.
And Dawson grounds that one up the middle. Sowers fields and sends to second for the easy force out to end the inning. So 2 strikeouts and a force out at second, but not before the Seagulls can put up 3 runs in the bottom of the first. It's a 3-0 Seagull lead on the Seagull Sports Network. We'll be right back.
Sure, we care about the environment and the community,
but we weren't sure what we could do to make a real impact that wouldn't cost us a fortune. Then we found out about Nautilus Community Solar. We don't have to own our own home, and it doesn't cost us a thing. In fact, we actually save money by choosing community solar.
it feels good knowing that we're creating a more sustainable and more affordable future for our family and friends.
Let's build a brighter future together. Let's solar.
Welcome back to Seagull Softball on the Seagull Sports Network. The Salisbury Seagulls sport a 3-0 lead over the York College of Pennsylvania Spartans. Due up for York will be Alexis McDonough, followed by Bree McCown and Kylie Paulus to try and get some more knocks on Isabella Purdy's ledger so far. So far, she's only given up one hit to a batter wearing green.
Yeah, and she hasn't really been punished for it all that much, and that's just because, you know, the batter outran the fielding. But otherwise, it's, you know, Isabel Purdy has looked pretty good on the mound.
Three flyouts were how the Spartans were out of the top of the first, as that was a nice play by Paoli to send over to first to record the first out.
No crazy hops that time either. Yeah.
And when it's not the wind, the last thing you want is the dirt to betray you too.
Mm-hmm.
Betrayed by two elements, the earth and the air. Hopefully there's no fire around for completing the earth, wind, and fire trio, but now the 0-0 is taken on the inner half by McDonough.
There's a reason I like doing games with you, and it's because of those references.
Yeah, you got to do what you can when just going off the top. Now here is the offer that's sent over to Paoli. Back-to-back plays for the Seagull shortstop, sent over to first to record the second out. So now McDonough and McCown both go down via groundouts to Paoli. Now that brings up Kylie Paulus. Now Purdy's 0-0 is swung on and grounded into the glove of Stockman, goes foul.
Looks like Paulus might have either fouled it off herself or something. She was shaking that off a little bit, but she's back in the box now, no problem.
Now the 0-1 offering is taken just inside. Had to scoot out of the way a little bit. Paulus now evens up the count at 1-1. With 2 down, nobody on for York. They've only amassed 1 hit against Purdy so far. And swing and miss for strike number 2.
Yeah, great off-speed pitch by Purdy there. It was clear Paulus was definitely expecting fastball, but she did not get it there.
Now the 1-2 is swung on and fouled back. It seemed like Paulus was out in front of that one a little bit as well.
Now the question is, will Purdy go to the fastball or will she keep throwing off speed?
Well, given that you have a 1-2 advantage, I think you may see a waste pitch here if I wanted to guess. Maybe something on the outside. We've seen a lot of that to try and catch batters swinging. What do you know?
And just like that.
It's almost like I know something. So the York College of Pennsylvania Spartans go down 1-2-3. 2 ground outs to Paoli and the strikeout of Kylie Paulus take us to the bottom of the second. It's a 3-0 lead for the Seagulls. We'll be back on the Seagulls Sports Network right after this.
I became a teacher for our children to help guide them to a brighter future. I educate myself on topics like clean energy, then share that knowledge with my students to help create a sustainable community. Community solar is a great source of clean energy, and it's affordable, more sustainable, and more affordable. Now that's a bright future for me and the kids. Let's build a better world. Let's solar.
Welcome back to Seagulls Softball on the Seagulls Sports Network. The Seagulls turn the lineup over and will begin with Mace, Challenger, and Reed to begin this one off. Mace, albeit reaching base the first time, I don't really think that she would like a repeat after being hit in her first at-bat. She'd probably like some other way to reach base safely as she watches that one go down low.
Yeah, well, I mean, wearing pitches is part of the game sometimes, but, you know, you got to find a way to get on base, and if it means, you know, taking one in the arm, then that's what it is.
That's right, as she watches that one go into the zone and catches for strike number 1. On that note, something interesting, though, in softball, at least from what I've seen, you don't really see as many accessories like elbow guards, and I know it sounds silly with Challenger in the on-deck circle wearing an elbow guard, but you don't really see the shin guards or the elbow guards, wrist guards, all the stuff that you see in baseball. So, and even batting gloves. Like, you don't really see too many batting gloves in the game of softball, which is an interesting parallel to its game neighbor of baseball.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I can probably understand why you don't see it as often in softball. I mean, the velocities are a little slower, and I guess the movement's a little bit more predictable.
Right.
But
certainly ain't a softball, though, I tell you that much.
It's bigger. Yeah.
Still going to do a number on you if it runs inside.
Mm-hmm. So count moves to full as Mace fouls off that last pitch.
So going to need something competitive out of the delivery here. And when you get a competitive pitch, you get Abby Mace ripping it into the gap. She's going to try and stretch it into a double and maybe even a triple. Can she get there? She can. She gets thrown out on a great play by Paulus as Abby Mace tried to stretch a double into a triple. Coach Lord not very happy with the home plate umpire on the call, or something related to it.
Not 100% sure what happened. Maybe she's saying like she missed the third baseman missed the tag, or because she didn't drop it.
Right.
But so the over-aggressiveness from Abby Mace comes to bite her.
I'd still knock that down as a double, though, which we mentioned earlier. She has moved into the top 10 of doubles in program history. We'll get an update on that, and
yeah, looks like she will be credited with it.
We'll get an update on those rankings soon, as Abby Mace has decorated many of records here in Seagulls softball lore.
Absolutely.
But enough about her. Let's take a look at Emily Challender, who has a single so far. One of 2 wind-assisted singles in the first 3 batters. Now she faces a 2-1 count.
Yeah, I guess we can call them that. I mean,
Yeah.
I just don't think the defenders were, the fielders were just really ready to see how effective the wind was with knocking them down.
Right. Either way, here's a 3-1 to Challender, and she fouls that one back, fills up the count at 3-2. Back-to-back batters facing 3-2 counts. Now the full count is once again fouled back into the roof of the York dugout, just beyond it. So still a payoff pitch awaiting Emily Challender. And it's on the way, and Challender skies that one out to center. Tracing under it is Dreyer. It will have just enough, despite the wind, to reach Dreyer's glove out in center field. So the first fly out suffered by a Seagull bat. That'll bring up Megan Reed. Also had a single in her first at bat. So that double moves Abby Mace into a 3-way tie for 8th. She ties Harley Hill and Jen Dodson with 47 doubles as a career Seagull. 2014 and 1998 graduates respectively are Hill and Dodson. There is a 4-way tie for first in program history with doubles, all with 51, the most recent being Michelle Gravdahl in 2013. Now the 3-0 to Reed is taken for a strike. Mace trying to stretch that double into a triple, where she is second all-time in triples behind Leanne Collins. She is 3 behind the 2018 graduate as Reed reaches first base safely on the walk. And that one is fouled back by Natalie Paoli, who struck out her first time. And that one is grounded to the shortstop, Sowers, sent over to second, but they dropped the ball. They're not able to record the out at second. So Reed will be safe, and Paoli will reach on the fielder's choice.
And that's just the importance of making those routine plays, even though it was a little quicker. Sometimes it's better to just go to first and get the force out there. Just make the runner run the full distance.
And that one is lined right back up the middle. It gets past Coppage and sent into center field. 1 run will score. So Reed scores from scoring position on the liner single by Carrie Jacoby. And Adams will take a second to check on Coppage. It looks like she's all right.
And that's what Jacoby did in the last inning too. You know, big hits up the middle and bringing in runs. That's what she's been doing all season.
That's right. That'll make it a 4-0 ball game in favor of the Maroon and Gold. Runners on first and second with 2 outs still. So now Myers watches that one in for a strike. She walked on 4 pitches her first time up to walk in the Seagulls' first run. That one just misses outside. Ends up the count at 1-1. Myers walked, split 2 singles between Jacoby and Stockman in their first at-bats. Now the 1-1 is once again grounded past the glove of McKeown. 1 run will come home to score. It's 5-0. And with Paoli crossing the plate, Jacoby on second. And now Myers reaching base safely twice today, standing on first.
Yep, and that elusive third out continues to evade the Spartans. The Seagulls are starting a bit of a run here. It seems like everybody just keeps trading places with each other. Just keep moving down the line.
Seagulls wanting to put a stop to game number 2 early if they can continue this scoring push, as Stockman tips that one into the glove of Adams. Now the 1-1 is golfed out into the right center gap, and calling for it is Paulus, making the catch for the 3rd out. Seagulls put up 2 runs in the bottom of the second, make it a 5-0 ball game going into the top of the 3rd. Nautilus Community Solar lets you choose clean solar energy to power your home. Our local community solar farms harvest the sun and send that energy to your utility provider, who delivers the power to your home through your existing power lines. You won't see any changes to your electricity service, only a lower utility bill. Any Marylander is eligible to participate, and neither a person's financial status nor geographical location prevents them from saving money while consuming energy in a more environmentally friendly way. Sign up today at nautilussolar.com and start saving by choosing clean energy. Let's solar. So the Spartans will have 8, 9, and 1 due up to try and once again get to Isabella Purdy, who they've only been able to put 1 hit up against, as Stockman comes out in her full catcher's gear.
Yeah, Purdy's been looking excellent so far through 2 full innings of work, and you know, she's keeping the Spartan hitters off balance. She's inducing weak contact, and the fielders are stepping up too, which is also very important.
You said it. As the Seagulls are looking to take both games from York, of course, in preparation for a big weekend matchup next week when they take on coast-to-coast rival Mary Washington in that doubleheader, where they will celebrate their seniors on April 20th, with that first pitch being at 1. And it's always interesting seeing these non-conference games right before big conference opponents and trying to figure out how I guess it's more so in baseball, trying to figure out like pitching-wise, but in softball especially, where you want to try and get that momentum going into conference games. As that one is let go by Tershi. It's a 2-0 count. Now the 2-0 from Purdy is once again fouled back off of a bunt. 5 more opponents for the Seagulls throughout the regular season. 10 total games, all of them are double headers. 4 of the 10 will be away from Margie Knight Stadium, one of which being a non-conference game against Shenandoah on April 21st. And then followed by the season ender in Newport News when they take on coast-to-coast rival Christopher Newport, all before the coast-to-coast tournament beginning on May 9th and going all the way until May 11th.
And we'll be getting more details as, conference play keeps going. I think the host will be the top-ranked team, which if Salisbury keeps playing the way they are, it'll be them. And as you mentioned that, I was looking at York's schedule coming up soon, and theirs does not get much easier, as well as after this game, they will be heading on Wednesday to Christopher Newport. And I know it doesn't say it on my notes, but Christopher Newport is number 9 ranked in the NFCA poll, so another very tough test for the York College Spartans. But after that, conference play continues at Hood on Saturday, April 20th at 1 and 3 p.m. respectively, before they head back home to face Susquehanna and Gettysburg, and also Alvernia in conference play, and then finally finishing their regular season on Monday, April 29th, versus Arcadia.
As that was a very smart play by Challenger. That one kind of rode the line, and it probably would have stayed fair had Challenger not had the wherewithal to send it over to first base.
Yeah, very good play by Challenger there. Just, try and get the out where you can. I think both teams saw that in the first game, that, you got to hustle that stuff out.
So now there's a runner on second with one down for York. Now the 0-0 delivery is swung through. A nice change of pace and pitch speed by Purdy to shake up the bat of Morgan Sowers.
Yeah, Sowers was pretty early on that swing there, and Sowers has not had much luck at the plate today. I think she has yet to find a hit today in either game.
As that one is a sky-high pop fly to the glove of Lauren Myers, drifting all the way from first base, making the catch, and the sour day for Sowers continues at the plate. Now standing in is Gretchen Barstadt, somebody who has not had a bad day at the plate.
Yeah, absolutely. Not only was she excellent pitching against the Seagulls, even though she did get tagged with the loss, but she also was instrumental in keeping the Spartans actually within reach of the Seagulls. Several good hits, several RBIs. Trying to take the whole team on her back.
So now that one's grounded right off the shin of Challenger, and they're going to hold the runner at third, so there will be runners on first and third. Challenger trying to shake that one off.
Yeah, I'm sure she's feeling that. They call it the hot corner for a reason, and that was a missile out to third base. But Challenger looks okay. I think it just hit off her calf or something, and she's all good now.
Challenger, usually we note how great of a defensive player she is and how well she's able to handle a hot corner, as that one has popped up. And Paoli will call off Challenger, making the catch. And that smoked off the shin of Challenger. Does not do any more harm than the bruise that's going to be left on her shin, as the Spartans are unable to put up a run. They still have only one hit off of the one error committed, they'll call it. And then we go to the bottom of the third with a 5-0 Salisbury lead still intact here on the Seagulls Sports Network. Don't go away.
Salisbury University thanks its sponsors and corporate partners of Seagull Athletics. They are Lafayette Federal Credit Union, Nautilus Solar, Hopper's Tap House, University Park Apartments, Peninsula Orthopedic Associates, Island Creamery, Maryland Army National Guard, BioLife Plasma, the Irish Penny Pub and Grill, Serve Pro of the Lower Shore, Rise Up Coffee Roasters, M&T Bank, Bagel Bakery Cafe, Saltine Warrior Sports Pub, and Harry's Bar. Thanks again for your support of Salisbury University Athletics.
Welcome back to Seagull softball here at the Seagull Softball Stadium. It's a 5-0 lead in favor of the maroon and gold, as Coppage is still out there in the circle for the Spartans. Spartans are looking to draw closer, but before they do that, they're going to have to try and limit the bats of the Seagulls, as they have already began to pinch hit the Seagulls.
So Rachel Keller will be coming in to hit instead of Sam Flowers. This is the first pinch hitter we've seen from the Seagulls today. They did not use any in the game earlier.
So a little bit of an odd thing. Usually there's softball going on all around the conference on weekends, but Salisbury, the only team in play in the coast to coast so far in this, or today rather. Of course, they beat York in the first game 8-5, and they're leading by a score of 5-0, as that one misses for a 3-0 count. But yesterday, Christopher Newport and Mary Washington played a doubleheader, so a conference matchup. Christopher Newport took both games, with first being a 8-1 score, followed by a 5-1 score in the nest of the Eagles. So Keller draws the walk in her first appearance today. So a runner will be on first for Jill Dawson, who grounded out into a fielder's choice her first time up.
And I think we're going to be seeing a pinch runner here. Yep. Here she comes. And looks like it's going to be...
Is that Del Colo?
Yes, I believe so. Number 11, Lexi Del Colo, coming in to pinch run.
A sophomore from Newark, Delaware, the Delaware Military Academy product. So far, she has 3 at-bats. Of course, not being very helpful in this situation, but as a runner, she has 2 runs scored and 2 career stolen bases through her 2 years as a Seagull. And Dawson grounds that one bunted foul. Del Colo, 14 total runs scored over her career as a Seagull. So making the most of her pinch running opportunities. But also has 2 RBIs as a batter through 4 at-bats. So Dawson facing a 1-1 with nobody out. She'll have a runner on first in Del Colo. And she will square around a bunt again and lay off. Good plate discipline from Dawson there. Two Delaware products for the Seagulls on the field in this at-bat. And that one is grounded to the shortstop, Sowers. She will pass up the double play, send it over to first, but it's too low. Not able to be scooped up by Barstadt. And Del Colo will advance to third while Dawson heads on to second base.
And that's going to be another error on the Spartans. That was just not a good throw by Sowers. Too low off the base, and Barstadt unable to come up with it. And now 2 runners in scoring position with nobody out. And one of the most dangerous hitters in the Salisbury lineup up to plate now.
I guess when they say it rains, it pours, they kind of mean it. Nothing seeming to go right for the Spartans so far in game number 2, after it seemed like they were well within the reach of the Seagulls. Now the 1-0 squared around to bunt by Mace, and they'll call it a strike. I don't believe they're saying that it's a strike because she swung in air quotes with the bunt. So called strike, evens the count at 1-1. Mace showing a little bit of displeasure with that one, and she fouls that one back to make it a 1-2 count.
And Abby Mace, we've seen some flashes of her power today, but in case you weren't with us for Game 1, Abby Mace is the new home run queen of Seagulls softball after hitting home run number 54 yesterday in the doubleheader versus Ursinus. We haven't seen really any long balls today, and I guess we can see why, just because of just how windy it is. It's been knocking down, fly balls and pop-ups pretty easily today.
And that one, we might have a shot at seeing it. It will go over the center field wall. Abby Mace with home run 55.
Well, never mind. I have a rotten habit of doing that, but it worked out in the end there.
I was going to say, just don't predict that a Spartan hits a home run today, and we might be all right.
Yeah.
But Abby Mace with a 3-run home run, dead center.
Yeah, deep as part of the yard. Very impressive.
I was just about to mention, the closest thing we've maybe seen to a home run was Joe Dawson switching up the approach and taking it to center field outside of Jacoby's monster shot foul. But never mind, Abby Mace hits it the farthest center field.
Yep. Now, Coppage back to bases empty, but now down 8-0 in only 2 innings of work. She's yet to record an out in this inning. And very few things going right for the Spartans today.
That home run coming on the 9th total Seagull hit in game number 2. And they've matched their first inning run total. So Challenger stands in with a 2-1 count with nobody out. And that's grounded to Sowers. See if she can make the throw over to first base, and she will for the first out of the bottom of the 3rd. So 6-3 goes the Seagull third baseman, and that will bring up the second baseman, Megan Reed.
Yeah, not unlike many of the other hitters on this Salisbury lineup. She also has a hit. She drew a walk as well.
So that one misses to make it a 2-0 count. Abby Mace with no RBIs in game number 1, but notches on 3 more with that home run. Mace was 2 for 3 with 3 runs scored, as that one is chopped foul by Reed.
And these Seagull batters seem to have found out Coppage, figured her out pretty quickly. So we've seen a lot of hard contact, lots of, like I said, lots of hard contact, lots of aggressive hitting, and it seems to be working.
Definitely, even to the tune of, we talked about at the beginning of game number 1 that in the doubleheader against McDaniel, Salisbury was able to scatter 19 hits across those 2 games, as that one is smoked to the glove of McCown at second base, making the catch to retire Megan Reed. But the Seagulls have already put up 18 with 9 hits in both game number 1 and game number 2 so far. So they're only 1 more hit away from matching their hit total in that McDaniel doubleheader, as that one's fouled back by Natalie Paoli. And Paoli once again chops that one into the York bullpen. And that one is skied out to center field, and that will drop in for a base hit for Natalie Paoli. So she'll reach base safely for the second time today. She grounded into a fielder's choice in her last at-bat.
Yep, and the Seagulls, even when they have nobody on base and 2 away, they still find ways to make opportunities and, you know, just capitalize on them. That's what they've been doing all game.
And a pinch runner will come in, relief for Natalie Paoli.
It's going to be number 28, Morgan Moxley, coming in. Freshman from Caravel Academy in Newark, Delaware.
Another Delaware face for the Seagull team. Always got to point those out if you're me. Long live the first state.
So now Carrie Jacoby stepping in to the box. She's 2 for 2 with 2 RBIs already.
And she skies that one out to center field. Tracing back under it is Dreyer, making the catch for the third out. And the Seagulls put up 3. We go to the top of the 4th. See if York can try and get some of those back. It's an 8-0 Salisbury lead. We'll be right back. It's an 8-0 ball game here in favor of the maroon and gold. Isabella Purdy still out there in the circle as she tries to continue her outstanding performance so far. Only 1 hit given up, 1 error assessed to the defense.
Yeah, and this York offense has been, well, for lack of a better term, it's been pretty much absent in this second game. If your name is not yeah, I mean, if your name is not Gretchen Barstad, the offense is pretty much hasn't shown up. Only 1 hit, that coming from Barstad, and everybody else has either gotten on via walk or from 1 hit. So several defensive changes coming for the Seagulls, according to our public address announcer, Will DeBoer. So it looks like Ellen Stockman's going to be at first base. And Morgan Moxley will fill in at short for Natalie Paoli, and Lexi Del Colo will be filling in for Sam Flowers at left.
Always nice seeing the younger faces on the team get some playing time.
Yeah, I mean the older players are going to graduate at some point. You know, you got to get the young blood to give them a little more time to develop and become better players.
Right, and I think it's even a little bit nice for the older players too. See the players that you took into your wing getting some playing time and go out to the field. It's bittersweet in a sense.
Yeah, and you can chill in the dugout and just watch the game instead of playing in it all the time.
Best seats in the house are in the dugout.
Oh yeah.
But now it's a 1-2 count from Purdy, trying to continue her hot streak of 3 scoreless innings. And that one is grounded over to Challenger at third, and sending over to first. A great scoop by Ellen Stockman on her first defensive play since being subbed in.
Yeah, that was a great, that was just a great defensive play all around. Challenger had a little trouble, bobbled it, but recovered nicely, had good composure, and sent it over to Ellen Stockman, who was able to make the grab on the slightly low throw. But that's what separates good teams from great teams, when you can recover from stuff like that.
Now the 0-0 from Purdy is in there and swung on and missed. Swung just above it. So now nobody on with 1 runner out, or batter out, I should say. And Purdy winding up the 0-1 and delivers, and it's swung on and missed. Alexis McDonough looking to keep the at-bat alive.
Yeah, McDonough early on 2 great off-speed pitches from Purdy. We'll see what Purdy throws here, but...
And that one is lined right up the middle for the second base hit for a Spartan today, or in game number 2, I should say. They had a good bit of them in game number 1, but either way, Alexis McDonough reaches first base on the line single right up the middle.
Yeah, looks like Purdy was throwing the fastball and McDonough was gonna, I guess she was sitting on it for pretty much, she was gonna sit on it for pretty much the whole at bat. Saw that one right out of the hand, and perfect hit down the middle for the second hit for the Spartans today. And a pinch runner will be coming in now. Looks like it's going to be number 7, Jordan Woodling, coming in.
Woodling coming in once again, the junior from Glen Elg, Maryland. She had a pinch running appearance in the first game in a time where they had 2 pinch runners on the field at one time when they threw in Woodling and McFarland, hoping for a better outcome this time. With McCown due up, followed by Paulus and Tershi. The 0-0 is high and outside.
Purdy only tagged for her second hit of the day through 3 1/3 innings of work, which is quite impressive.
Now the 1-0 is cut down the left field line, foul. Del Colo scoops it up and sends it to Moxley at short, and eventually it makes its way back to Purdy. Now Purdy receiving the sign and sending in the 1-1. That one is just missed outside. Count grounded out to Natalie Paoli in her first at-bat. She can't do that this time. If she were to ground out to the shortstop, it would be Morgan Moxley. Here's the 2-1. And she takes it on the inside half for a strike. Evens up the count at 2-2 with 1 down. Two is swung on and missed. They get the swing on the outside pitch. They try for the back pick over to first. Not in time, though. Either way, it's a strikeout of Bree McCown.
And that was a good idea by Stockman there to try and possibly catch Woodling sleeping over there, but Woodling was expecting it and got back in time. But still 2 away here.
As the 0-0 is in there for a strike, put some pressure on Kylie Paulus, who struck out in her first at-bat. Force out is in play at second or first. Whichever the easiest out for the infield should be. Swing and a miss. Swung over that one. Makes it a 0-2. Now here is the 0-2 with 2 outs, and can't quite freeze Kylie Paulus on the outside half. It'll ring up for a ball, and the at-bat will continue. It's 1-2. Pretty good pitch selection. Those outside pitches have been there all day for both teams as that one runs inside. Paulus gets out of the way. Oh, we've talked bits and pieces about it, about pitching to the outside, and you can get the calls, or otherwise the batters will more than likely swing, which we saw with the strikeout of McCown. Here's the 2-2, and that one is cut on lightly, skied out to second base. It's fielded by Reed for the third out in the air. And we go to the bottom of the fourth inning with an 8-0 Seagull lead still in place here on the Seagull Sports Network. Be right back with softball action.
We understand an upside-down world, but they're writing us off before we get to the starting line. A stalled generation? Who do you think is gonna fix all this? We will, because our future is the future. So we're going to build bridges and hospitals in a day and feed those left in the cold. We're going to do all this and more because we have an appointment with destiny.
Welcome back to Seagull Softball on the Seagull Sports Network. It's an 8-0 Seagull lead. Still some leftover Seagull fans from game number 1. And if you are a Seagull fan or parent who bleeds maroon and gold, you can join the Maroon and Gold Club to help support Salisbury University student athletes. Visit suseagulls.com for more information. The Maroon and Gold Club is for those who bleed maroon and gold.
So it'll be the Stockman twins and Lexi Del Colo due up. Ellen Stockman going first, then Emily Stockman, and then Del Colo bringing up the rear.
So Ellen will come in to take the place of Lauren Myers, and then we will see Morgan Moxley batting after Emily Stockman. The 0-0 to Ellen is in there for a strike. So Myers finishes the day with a 1-for-1 outing in game number 2 with a single and a walk, as the 0-1 to Ellen is missed outside.
Yep, and the Seagulls looking to pile on a little more as with the current score that we have now, the Spartans are in danger of falling victim to the run rule if they cannot close the gap to less than 8 runs. The Seagulls will be looking to pile on in the bottom of the 4th. 1-2 count to Ellen Stockman.
1-2 once again misses, evens the count up at 2-2. And we mention records a lot with Abby Mace, but she is top 5 in runs batted in program history. Her next amount to pass, as the diving play by Sowers cannot be fielded cleanly. So a single by Ellen Stockman in her first at-bat. She gets the single.
And now her twin sister looking to come in and advance her or bring her in. Emily Stockman, my apologies, already has a hit and an RBI today.
And Emily watches that one go in there, but to my point, Mace is top 5 in runs batted in program history for the Seagulls. Her next feat to beat is Erin Ruist and her 169 career runs batted in, as that one is lined right back up the middle, and the Stockman twins both have singles back-to-back at bats.
And after that hit, looks like the York pitching coach is going to come out and talk to Coppage, as the Spartans are starting to struggle yet again on the in the circle and defensively.
And as that huddle breaks, if you're looking for more ways to follow Salisbury Athletics, be sure to keep up with all the latest news on social media. Follow us on Facebook, X, and Instagram at SU Seagulls today.
And it looks like we're going to have a new pitcher for the Spartans. And it looks like we're going to see an old friend, Gretchen Barstad, come back out there into the circle.
Well, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly, but I figured she'd be at least a little tired. I mean, she did pitch a full game, pretty much a full game in game 1, but the Spartans running out of options, so they turn to their first baseman, Gretchen Barstad, and while we let her warm up, we'll throw it to break real quick, and we'll be right back after this.
Sure, we care about the environment and the community.
But we weren't sure what we could do to make a real impact that wouldn't cost us a fortune. Then we found out about Nautilus Community Solar. We don't have to own our own home, and it doesn't cost us a thing. In fact, we actually save money by choosing community solar.
It feels good knowing that we're creating a more sustainable and more affordable future for family and friends.
Let's build a brighter future together. Let's solar.
We welcome you back to Seagull Softball on the Seagull Sports Network. And we'll have a pinch runner here coming in for Ellen Stockman. It'll be Anna Hopkins coming in and taking over at second base.
So lots of changes coming on both sides.
Over first base number 20, Emma Wade. Pinch running for Salisbury, number 1, Hannah Hopkins. And now batting, left fielder number 11, Lexi Del Polo.
So a lot of changes, as you
Lots,
mentioned.
Yep, so Emma Wade, the designated hitter for the Spartans, will take over at first, and Barstad moves back into the circle for the second time today. And she'll be facing Lexi Del Colo for her first at-bat of the day.
And can't forget Ann Hopkins
Yep.
taking over at second for Ellen Stockman. Emily still on first base. After the Stockman sisters got back-to-back singles in their at-bats, Del Colo watches the 0-0 pitch go in for a strike.
Oh, and so Coach Lord looks like she subbed in the wrong player for the wrong runner. So
That's what happens when you have two Stockmans.
I guess so. You know, both start with E too. But so Anna Hopkins will be pinch running for Emma Stockman or Emily Stockman at first. Ellen Stockman will stay on second. And this is a bit rough around the edges.
Yeah, well, either way, it would make sense why you wanted Hopkins at second as the lead runner. But I suppose if you just wanted to keep Ellen Stockman in the game just to give her some base running experience while also putting Hopkins in, I can understand it from that perspective, as Del Colo is still in the same at-bat. It's a 1-2 count for her. Now the 1-2 from Del Colo is grounded to Sowers at short, sends over to third for the easy force. And now there's one out. They get the lead runner, so either way, Ellen Stockman returns to the dugout.
Yep, and it looks like we're going to see another pinch hitter. It's going to be number 9, Carly Wolf, coming in for Jill Dawson. And not sure if you were calling any of these games for me with me during the Margie Night Classic, but Carly Wolf, when she was coming off the bench, I think every single game she came in to pinch hit, she hit a home run.
I think I do recall that, yes.
Yeah. Like without fail.
She is batting .471 on the year. 17 at-bats, 8 hits, 3 runs scored, and 3 home runs. The sophomore from Chaptico, Maryland. I believe typically plays third base in the games that I've seen her be put in for, as she watches that one on the outer half, but it goes for a ball. So Del Colo goes down on the field, or reaches first base, on the fielder's choice. Ellen Stockman out at third. And Wolf not quite able to get the home run there. Or actually, I take it back. It will be a foul ball.
So she'll get another chance.
Wade chasing that one down after the defensive replacement. Seagulls have out-hit the Spartans by 10 by a margin of 12-2. They lead 8-0 as home plate umpire will clear some things up with the Spartan dugout. And Wolf lines that one in, and she's got a base hit. It's going to go to the wall. 1 run coming around to score. They're going to hold the second runner at third with Del Colo stopping. But Carly Wolf with a single and advancement on the error as it got past Paulus and reached the wall.
Yeah, and it looks like they're going to charge the Spartans with their 3rd error of the day, which is
not ideal.
Not ideal, no. As Paulus, it just got through her glove.
And we'll see what the change is here.
Yep. So, as far as I know, Abby Mace is going to be swinging the bat, and looks like we're going to be seeing a pinch runner for Carly Wolf. It's going to be number 21, Taylor Scott.
Shout out Delaware once again.
Yep, the junior from Bridgeville, Delaware, alumni of Woodbridge High School.
3 runs with 1 stolen base on the year so far for Scott. She'll take over at second with Del Colo still at third. And Abby Mace with an opportunity to add some RBIs to her list as she watches that one in for a strike.
She already has 3 RBIs, 2 hits, one of those being a 3-run shot over Sammy Seagull out there in center field. You don't see a lot of home runs go that far.
Ace watches that one go low and away. The 1-1 is once again high and outside, wanting to pitch around Abby Mace. Can't blame him.
Well, I think if anybody could pitch to Abby Mace, it would be Barstad. She had some success against, well, Mace had success against her, but wasn't exactly burned too bad. But count is 3-1. There's runners, 2 runners in scoring position, and Mace is just going to take the walk and pave the way for Emily Challender.
Well, I think this is kind of a lose-lose situation for the Spartans. You know, you either pitch to Abby Mace with a hitter's count with runners on second and third, or you try and pitch to Emily Challender with the bases loaded and 1 out. As that one misses low to Challender.
And it looks like there's another change in the on-deck circle. I can't quite tell what the number is, but it's going to be
Cold Snow.
Yep, number 25, Emma Cold Snow is going to be pinch hitting for Megan Reed.
And Challender grounds that one up the middle past the glove of McCown once again. 1 run scores. Here comes Scott, and she'll score. So 2 runs tag on for the Seagulls. It's 11-0 in the bottom of the 4th. 3 innings where they've scored 3 runs.
And the Seagulls are pretty much exactly in the position they want to be, up by 3 runs on the run rule and up by 11 overall in the game. And if they can hold the Spartans to only a couple runs, this game will be over after the top of the 5th.
Cold Snow, we mentioned coming into today, is 4 for 12 with 1 run scored, 1 RBI, 2 of those being strikeouts. 11 for 37 in her career with 9 RBIs, and she looks to be doing something with her at bat here in this pinch hitting opportunity. Challender, we mentioned at the beginning of game number 1 that she leads Division III in the on-base percentage category. So like we mentioned, you either pitch to Mace with 2 runners on, 2 runners in scoring position rather, or you pitch to the top person in on-base percentage in the nation.
Yeah, it's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place with that. But I guess taking the lesser of 2 evils, I think you wouldn't want Abby Mace sending another softball over the wall.
As Cold Snow is tagged on the outside half. It's now Cold Snow facing the 2-2. She grounds that one up the middle once again, and it's past the glove of McCown. 1 run coming around to score in Mace, and now runners on first and second once again.
Yep, and the Salisbury train just keeps on rolling. Now this is the bottom of the 4th. 4 runs on the board. Most runs they've scored in any inning, period. It's just tied now for the first game. And it looks like we're going to see another pinch runner. Looks like it's going to be number 12, Camille Jones, coming in. Freshman out of Middletown, Maryland.
Almost wanted to say Middletown, Delaware there.
I was about to also, but
But either way, Jones so far this season, of course, as a freshman, has 11 pinch running appearances. She has 4 stolen bases and 7 runs scored through those 11 outings, and this being her 12th. Moxley looking for her first hit of her career as a Seagull. She has a strikeout and through 3 at-bats, excuse me. So the 5'7" freshman from Newark, hoping for a change of results. But now she's facing an 0-2 count. Moxley facing the 0-2, swing and miss. So now there's 2 outs. We go to not Carrie Jacoby. We'll see who Coach Lord elects to put in, and it's McKenna Horner.
She came in as a pinch runner in game 1, and now she's coming up to the plate for game 2. 5'4" freshman out of Deal Island, Maryland. And Coach Lord digging into her dugout pretty deep.
Digging into the field hockey reserves.
Yes, that's right, yeah. I think McKenna Horner is, I know she's a dual sport athlete, but I think Julie Altieri, I think, is another one. So I know she plays volleyball and something else. I could be wrong, though. Maybe I'm confusing her with something else.
I remember there were 2 dual sport athletes on the Seagulls last season for softball.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was Elena Gelati.
Yes, that's correct.
Shout out Dover High. That's how I know that. Now the 1-0 on the way to McKenna Horner. That one's grounded back to backset and sent over to first to record the 3rd out. Seagulls put up 4 in the bottom of the 4th. It's a 12-0 advantage. They'll send it to the top of the 5th to see if York can try to get some runs back here on the Seagull Sports Network. Don't go anywhere.
I became a teacher for our children to help guide them to a brighter future. I educate myself on topics like clean energy, then share that knowledge with my students to help create a sustainable community. Community solar is a great source of clean energy, and it's affordable, more sustainable, and more affordable. Now that's a bright future for me and the kids. Let's build a better world. Let's solar.
Welcome back to Seagull Softball on the Seagull Sports Network here at Margie Knight Seagull Softball Stadium. Mike Greco alongside Billy Griffith here as we enter the top of the 5th inning. It's a 12-0 Seagull advantage over the York College Spartans. We'll have a new face in the pitcher's circle after Isabella Purdy's day has concluded. It will be the freshman from Monton, Pennsylvania, Carly Angstadt, coming in to try and finish off the Spartans here today. Billy, a freshman trying to finish off the Spartans here today.
Yeah, pretty much what we saw in game one with Sydney Adolphson. Taking a look at Angstadt's stats so far. 2.1 ERA, 3 appearances, and 3 1/3 innings pitched. 4 hits, 1 run, only one of those, and the only run being earned. 5 walks issued and 5 strikeouts, with only 18 batters faced. So a new face, but getting her some reps out there. And And as you heard from our public address announcer, Will DeBoer, another slew of defensive changes coming for the Seagulls. As we've mentioned before, since the Spartans are down 12-0, if they are unable to close the gap to within 8 or to less than 8, this game will come to an end via the run rule. So Spartans have a tall task ahead of them. And for the Spartans, it will be Turchi, Dreyer, and Sowers due up for the Spartans.
So Turchi standing in, facing the first pitch from Angstadt, and it will be in there for a strike. The 0-1 is taken on the low and outside section.
Yep, and going over the defensive changes for Salisbury real quick, as we mentioned, Carly Angstadt now in the circle. Taylor Scott moves over to left. Lexi Del Colo moves to right. Megan Reed comes back in at second base. Morgan Moxley stays at short. And I think that's about it. A lot of moving parts.
If there's anybody different, they evaded me. So
yep,
I got nothing else. But should the Seagulls hold on to the 12-0 lead that they've built, they will preserve their 1-loss record with a sweep of York, as that one flies behind us. Of course, they defeated the Spartans in game number 1 by a score of 8-5. And with this victory here in game number 2, they will improve to 22-1 before going and taking on Mary Washington next weekend. Here's the 1-2, and home plate umpire says no, that will not be a strikeout for you, Angstadt. You're going to have to work a little bit harder, this time with a 2-2 count if you want to strike out Olivia Turchi.
And Turchi was able to draw a walk in her last appearance. And Spartans just need some sort of spark.
As that one is picked up by Reed, sent over to Ellen Stockman at first base to record the first out. So now that takes it to the bottom of the lineup. Riley Dreyer, she grounded out to Challender in her first at-bat. Seagulls holding on to this game, they can extend their winning streak to 17 games in a row, as well as earning their 20th win here within the confines of Margie Knight Seagull Softball Stadium. They hold a 19-1 record, their sole loss on the season coming, as you mentioned, against Lynchburg in the Margie Knight Classic here at the Seagull Softball Stadium. And the 0-1 is popped out. Scott chasing under it and can't make the two-handed catch. She'll throw it to second base, but Dreyer will instead stay at first.
Yeah, it looks like she might have lost it in the sun. To the camera, the sun is pretty much behind you, like over your right shoulder. So, fortunate for Taylor Scott, unable to make the catch, and she will be charged an error for that. So,
As you can tell by the shadows of the players, just where the sun is, it's shining right in their eyes. I think as the wild pitch allows Turchi to advance to second, but I think the only defensive player really not as phased by the sun is, of course, Emily Stockman behind the plate, but maybe a little bit of Ellen Stockman, Megan Reed, and Moxley out and right. Or Docolo, excuse me. Moxley at short would 100%
Oh, yeah.
be facing the sun.
She's feeling it.
But either way, the Seagulls just have 2 more outs to muster before they don't have to deal with the sun or the wind anymore. At least until the forecast for next weekend comes in. As the 2-0 is popped up. Wish that was coming to me. I was ready for it. But this is not banana ball. If I caught that, it would not have meant anything except for a cool moment, I suppose. But a cool moment is being here and calling this game, as the 2-1 is in there for a strike.
That was a great pitch by Angstad there. Top corner away. It's hard to hit and it's hard to lay off, but great pitch from Angstad there. Count moves to 2-2.
With a runner on second, here's Angstad's 2-2 offering. And that one is skied out to left field, and if it was fair, it had a long way, but
yeah,
once again rolls foul or flies foul.
I don't think Angstad will be throwing that pitch again, because I'm not sure if you saw that, Michael, but that hit off the far left pole of the netting that keeps softballs off of South Division Street.
Oh, wow.
So that was a long foul ball. That would have most certainly been a home run had that gone fair.
Almost carried Jacoby distance. But as we see, a more careful pitch selection makes it a 3-2 count. Dreyer on second, ready to take off. And the 3-2 is swung on and missed. Angstad gets the strikeout.
And that's a big pitch there. Got her upstairs with a fastball.
Up in the eyes.
Yep, and I don't think Sowers was expecting that.
So now it's Angstad and Barstad.
Yep.
Coming in to potentially be the final at-bat.
A pitcher's duel of sorts.
The 0-0 is just low.
I mean, Barstad has proven to be a tough out all day. And I'm sure she will not go down without a fight.
And way inside, might have clipped the shin. No, it doesn't. So a wild pitch, I suppose, as Dreyer advances to third. Some fans here at Marginite getting the benefit of the shade provided by the press box from that sun.
I'm not quite sure if I'd want to be in the shade with all this wind, though.
That's true.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be in the sun if I was in the field.
Yeah.
As that one's fouled back. Barstad, as you mentioned, willing to fight to try and keep her team in this one. The 2-1 upstairs misses. Makes it a hitter's friendly 3-1. Salisbury looking to hand York their 10th loss this season. And that one once again rides inside. Angstad with a little issues on inside control. And Emily Stockman will go out and have a talk with the with the with the closer, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah, Carly Angstadt, she's just 1 out away from putting this game into the books. But starting to lose control a little bit here. So now it'll be up to Daphne Adams as the last chance for the Spartans.
At the conclusion of this game, York will be on a 5-game losing streak, as the throw down to second base is not in time. They're going to throw home, and that will be the final out of the game. York tried to capitalize on some defensive confusion, but the Seagull infield stood tall, and they secured the 12-0 win in game number 2 of this doubleheader against the York College Spartans.
Yeah, and that was just a complete game, front and back. Yeah, there was a little excitement from the Spartans in the top of the 5th, but again, the Seagulls, they just controlled this game from the very first pitch to the very last pitch, and you can tell on the box score here, 12 runs, 15 hits. There were a few errors on both sides, but York only able to get 2 hits through 5 innings, and it's hard to win games when you can't get hits.
You're right about that. So the Seagulls knocked down the Spartans in a doubleheader sweep on this Sunday afternoon. They will next play against Mary Washington, as you heard, when they celebrate their seniors next weekend. But until then, from all of us here at the Seagull Sports Network, I'm Michael Greco, and this is Billy Griffith. So, for today, our camera operator, Aiden Wilson, and our computer, also Billy Griffith, we thank you for watching today's presentation of Salisbury University softball. Once again, today's final scores: in game number 1, Salisbury wins by a score of 8-5, and in game number 2, they win by a score of 12-0. This has been Salisbury University softball on the Seagull Sports Network. Thank you for watching.